many, well, hundreds and hundreds of Chinese parents, thousands of Chinese parents want their children to learn Kung Fu in Shaolin. There's loads of schools for their children and the tourists all back that way. And you see them practicing. But they're just practicing. Only the monks live here. If you look really, really carefully, there's a lot of Kung Fu given away in these pictures, if you know what you're looking for. Yeah, this is the second temple in Shaolin. All the pagodas you see around you contain the bodies of all the dead and venerable monks. The bigger the pagoda, the more important, the more students the monk had. The tallest pagoda here is going to be 7 stories. 9 was reserved for the royal family, 9 tiers. So the biggest one is going to be 7. The pagoda you saw at the very top is the oldest one. That's like a mass burial where there was a massacre. It's just over there somewhere. There's a really small pagoda. There's a young monk who was in the kitchen cooking, standing over a big pot, boiling rice, stirring, and he fell in. They ate, all the monks ate, and realised he was missing. And then when they got to the bottom, they found his bones. So they ate him.
Mike made us aware that his master had been asked to demonstrate his Kung Fu skills in Shaolin some years ago. I asked him to explain.
Came here in first time in 1983, and he was asked to demonstrate his Taedang Kung Fu. And he performed it, and the chief abbot Dachon at the time said, "This is incredible. This has been lost for over 300 years. And how do you know it? The family, my ancestors, gave it to you in the first place." And they asked for it back, I said, "No, we've lost it once, why should we trust you again?"
As the trip progressed, the final training sessions took place. With the group learning at a more intense pace than they had ever previously experienced, they were becoming ever more aware of the dedication involved to master this sacred art.
Taught Hong Chuan, being picked up on all our, bad habits, I suppose. And over there, the other students have been taught Tong Bei. And really intense stuff.
We're learning the first form of Tong Bei from his, it's one of his disciples, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if it's his first disciple or just one of his disciples, but he's very skilled. It's good to do this in this intensity. We took it a bit easy in the park because we were learning the whole sequence. Now we've sort of broken it down, and he's given us additional pointers on all the moves and correcting. I mean, we've got a few things wrong. He showed us quite quickly in the park, so he's kind of correcting and adding the other bits to that. Three points to hit it, the first one.
Two masters, disciples here to correct and show us this new system. Basically just been running through that and having all our postures corrected where we picked up little mistakes, little bad habits, and just little turns, twists, which make things far more effective than what we first realised was possible. They had to sort of explain unless you see them. Coming back to the roots of where everything's begun gives you a real feel for the system instead of just taking somebody else's word for it, we're living it.
The Peony Flower Festival was beginning just as we left Loyang. The group reflected on their time.
Their skill level is so high. We practice moves at home, and we think they look good and we think they feel good, but these guys move in a different way, totally different speed, so much power. And to have these guys teaching us and correcting us is just awesome. It's a privilege and an experience as well.
On our return journey, the master took us to his home in Juntan, a small farming village outside Loyang. Here the students gained an insight into the true nature of real life in China from the master and his family.
I think being in China, being with Chinese people, and it's such an un-touristy thing to do. It's given an insight into the way these people live, why they live full lives. It's shown us how important Kung Fu is to them. It's different to us in the West, you know. The Kung Fu, still to a large extent, is something that we do after work, or we do in the evening when we finished. But these people, it's Kung Fu, that's their life. And to have a little bit of that rub off on us is really good.
Mike is honest person, good person, friendly, very friendly, honest. So my father taught Mike really Kung Fu. You know, Kung Fu is traditional Kung Fu, only give it good people. Good people has good Kung Fu. Bad people hasn't good Kung Fu. I want the Europe know about Kung Fu, Fang Tong Bei.
I think training's gone to a whole new level now, so when we get back to the class, it seems to me that if you're going to be serious about sort of doing martial arts, it's got to become maybe more of a way up life. But it's really impressed it much more on me now that it needs to be a way of life if you really want to be serious about what you're doing. Some of the martial arts that I know in the UK are very westernized. You are not going to get that level of martial arts without, you know, dedicating your life, and they do dedicate their life to it.
Being in China and doing it differently, they have to kick their Kung Fu up a gear. You know, I apologise if you couldn't get everything in, but I think you may have seen enough. I'm hoping that their Kung Fu, or their perception of what Kung Fu really is, would have changed for the better. That's what I want them to get out of this more than anything else. Real Kung Fu isn't a sport, it's a way of life. You don't practice it, you live it. You become it, it becomes you, it takes over. When they get that, they'll really understand.